Yeah. Wyatt begins in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yo! Welcome to Wyatt, and I'm your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans. Grr, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof. Hi. I said hi to all my YouTubers out there. If you like what you see and if you like what you hear, then click all of them subscribe buttons at the bottoms of all of your screens. And because I know you loves me, I know you do, give me some likes. And because I always like to know what you are thinking, send me some feedback. It is greatly appreciated. Okay, today's epi of Wyatt shines the spotlight on Mr. Brandon C. Smith. Y'all, he is a bona fide multi-hyphenate. He is a filmmaker, a producer, a musician, an actor, and a social justice warrior. I mean, he wears a lot of hats. So let's get to know him right now. So without further ado, Wyatt, I said Wyatt, gives a B&B a bold and bodacious welcome to Mr. Brandon C. Smith. He's a bona fide multi-hyphenate, y'all. He's a filmmaker, a producer, a musician, an actor, and a social justice warrior. Good golly, Miss Molly, I want to be just like him when I grow up. That is, if I ever grow up. So, Brandon, talk at me, my brother. How the hell are ya?
What's going on, Wyatt? Thank you so much for this interview and a lovely introduction. I am doing well, fabulous, just blessed to be here.
Cool. Listen, you know what? I'm always trying to find additional streams of income. So you know what? I could be your hype man. You know that?
Okay. So I'm here for that.
Okay, we'll talk.
Let's talk. We're going to talk.
I need some coins. So, you know, we're going to talk after this is all over.
Okay, I got you.
Anywho, I like that's my brother. I like that. I like that. Well, look, thank you for taking the time to stop by. Wyatt is greatly appreciated. So, let me tell you something, man. You've got one hell of a resume, and I love to read resumes of my guests. So I am going to do that for our audience, and I'm going to try to use my announcer voice, so I hope it works. So here we go. Brandon C. Smith, he, him, is a New York City-based actor, musician, filmmaker, and creative producer whose work lives at the intersection of art and social justice. In 2018, Mr. Smith founded Golden Boy Productions, a queer and Black-owned company dedicated to elevating BIPOC and LGBTQ plus narratives through film, media, and public programming. He also co-founded and serves as executive director of the Queer Voices New York City Film Festival, a nonprofit that empowers LGBTQIA plus filmmakers of color by showcasing their work, celebrating their stories, and providing professional development opportunities. Brandon also serves as a community producer at the Emmy-nominated Brick TV network and was recognized with the New York City Mayor's Artist Corps Grant in 2021 for his contributions to the arts. And this talented creative is the resident filmmaker for City University of New York, CUNY, and the LaGuardia Archives, where he is developing Before They Tell Stories, a groundbreaking documentary series preserving queer histories, and his latest film, Bill and Robert, is streamed on Amazon Prime and Hit TV. That's impressive. So look, don't break your hand patting yourself on the back.
You know, I'm learning to do that. Absolutely. Yes. Very grateful.
Did I get it all in?
You got it all in. And then the film itself is called Before They Tell Our Stories, just so y'all can find it. But yes, so we can get into No worries. No worries.
Gotcha. Okay. Before They Tell Our Stories. Okay, look, man. Philip Esteem, he's the administrator of PrideIndex.com, interviewed you last year. And PrideIndex.com is the influential information and entertainment site that recognizes and celebrates LGBTQ, Black, and people of color talent. Now, Phil wrote, and I quote, deeply committed to amplifying marginalized voices, Brandon drives storytelling that sparks transformative conversations and fosters community engagement, end quote. Now, Brandon, let's delve into that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Where do you, I know that resume is crazy. Where do you want to start? Because
give me feedback on that quote.
Yeah, I mean, so I lived in Chicago during the Black Lives Matter movement, and when Mike Brown lost his life
Right.
and to police violence, and so during that time, as a Black queer person, I was figuring out, where do I find myself, where do I find my community, and in that time, the Black Lives Matter movement started, so I started organizing, creating spaces for my community to be in fellowship.
Right.
And from there, I realized as an artist that having a space that was safe and affirming was important for me as a creative, but also I knew how important it was for folks that look like me to have a space like that. And organizing community has always been my North Star. I've always felt inclined to center community no matter what, because as going back to the the civil rights movement, where were communities started? Where were the movement started? Black churches. And so here I am. I'm also doing the same thing in my community to amplify these voices by, at my apartment, at small venues. And, I think it's just important that we create spaces that typically, center Black and brown people. So that's where that comes from.
Okay, great answer. Great answer. Brandon, before we go into deeper detail about your accomplishments, let's travel through the corridors of time so we can learn about your backstory, because we here at Wyatt are nosy like that. So, are you ready?
Let's get it. Buckle in.
Well, where were you born and raised?
I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and I went to school all over St. Louis City. And yeah, I'm thinking, anything else?
Okay, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it. Listen, I like to ask my special guest this question because it makes me chuckle, and it also can give insight into who that person is as an adult. So here it is. What was Brandon like as a little boy, a little nipper? Give us like 3 characteristics, attributes that best describe you.
I feel like as a kid, I had an older brother, so he spoke for me. So I would say I was a bit shy, adventurous, and funny. I think I was found comedy and making jokes with my friends and my family as a kid. So those are my 3 attributes.
Cool. Okay. Okay. Now, you grew up in the church. Can you tell us about that time and how you managed to navigate and reconcile the whole Christianity and homosexuality thing?
Yeah, so I grew up in the church, and the church really formed me as a singer, as an artist. And I used to go to the National Black Convention, the National Black Congress. That's what they used to call it, and where I would dance and sing, and that was my track. And as a kid, I think I already knew I was queer. I was out, I figured I liked the same sex, but I didn't have that outlet. But as a kid, I grew up with my cousin who was a very out and proud lesbian and had girlfriends around.
Okay.
And so I saw her. We never talked about it, but I saw that representation quite early on, but I never had that permission to do it. So I think for me, I was dealing with my own internalized homophobia. Right. I had to reckon with that quite early. And, I used had slanders and things I would say because I was fighting internally to be something that I wasn't. And I didn't have that
Absolutely.
space to do that. And so, yeah, religion, it was hard because my pastor's telling me that I should hate myself, that I should not be gay, and that gay is a sin. So, yeah, I struggle with that identity, and I'm constantly on a daily basis, healing from that and reckoning with my identity on a daily basis because it's hard. And
Mm-hmm.
but I'm grateful for my experience through religion and spirituality because
Mm-hmm.
that's what gave me that route to continue to do the work that I do. Because even though the church said I shouldn't be here, my pastor also told me that I should have my own personal relationship with God, and no one can take that away from me, no matter where I go. So I I liberate myself on that every day.
Mm. Your pastor is a wise man. Um, that was important for you to hear. Okay, you stated that while growing up in church, you started your ministry as a singer. Let's dig deeper into that.
Yeah, so I told you I was shy. And
No,
yo,
no.
so
Okay.
I was shy, and when I there was a solo happening, and my brother actually used to sing this solo, and I think I was humming it one day at choir rehearsal, and then the choir director came to me, was like, "Brandon, you come sing, just hear it out." And so I started to sing, and she looked at me, but she was like, "Oh, this is your solo." So I ended up taking the
Wow.
solo away from my brother. And that because I was a tambourine boy. I was like hitting that tambourine. Oh my
Mm.
gosh.
Oh,
I could hit
wow.
that tambourine nothing like none other. That's my ish. The pastor was like, "Hey, that's my tambourine boy." And that's what I was known for. But they didn't know that I actually sang. So it took stealing my brother's solo to me to come in my shell and start to sing. And I knew that I loved music, and I think again the choir was really a safe space for me to like express my voice, and very grateful for that.
Cool. Stole from your brother, huh? Okay.
You know,
A natural born performer just stealing stuff from other folk. Okay. Cool. Cool. I'm just pulling your leg.
no, I feel you, and it's funny. I make fun of my brother all the time. He has a great voice too. He
Oh,
can
cool.
sing.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Now, in that fabulous PrideIndex.com interview with Philip, you stated, and I quote, I ended up studying opera at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. My passions were stronger, and I transferred to a musical theater school in Pittsburgh, but that didn't work out. I then moved to Chicago and found my voice teacher at Harold Washington College, end quote. So let's talk about that. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. The voice is again something that's always been natural to me, but I think it was really God sent to find the great trainers to help you shape
Hmm.
that. And I still love opera and classical music. I love languages, so I sing in German, Italian,
Wow.
obviously English, and those languages just. I don't know, something about hearing Bach or Chopin or, Brahms just like get me excited. Um, and but as a black person dealing with a predominantly white field, it
Uh-huh.
was hard to find that representation for me. So I was kind of battling like, should I be here? Why am I the only tenor who's black in this class? But, mentorship was something that was lacking. Um, so I, deterred and did other things. But at the same
Hmm.
time, how God works is that he will bring me back into what he knows that I should be doing. And I got brilliant voice teachers that changed me and my voice. And I learned about bel canto technique at Harold Washington, this like community college in Chicago. Shout out to Harold Washington. But I really, discovered that I can do this and that there's more out there for me. And so Chicago, yeah, my teacher, um, he was a great guy. And, he really was like, you should continue to go. And so that really just motivated me to continue to make music, and train.
Mm. Ooh, 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 listen, let me throw you a curveball here. Sing something in Italian.
Sing some, how about German?
Whatever. Germans works for
Okay.
me. Go ahead.
Dass ich dich verloren habe, dass du nicht mehr bist, ach, dass hier in diesem Grabe mein Anselmo ist, das ist mein Schmerz, das ist mein Schmerz. Okay.
Damn, bravo, bravo. What did you say?
My love lost my Anselmos. This is my love at the grave, and basically I will never love again.
Wow. You know what? That's sexy because you know what? German men love black men. That's what I've
Okay,
been told.
Germany.
That's what I've been told. That works for me. Okay.
Okay,
All
I'm
right
looking for
now.
my neck. I'm looking for my international bay.
Okay,
Where
there
you
you
at?
go. There you go. Yeah, okay. I'll make a phone call for you. But anyway, okay, in Chicago, you began a
Hmm.
career in community organization, correct?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So started off doing like open mics in my apartment, and
Wow,
started
interesting.
bringing people together that were, excuse me, communities of color,
Hmm.
and doing open mics. And I really just enjoy bringing my creative friends together to show their music, play music, poetry, dance. And mind you, I was only in Chicago for a year,
Oh, okay.
because then
Okay.
I moved to New York shortly after that. But yeah, so I started just, throwing events, which,
Wow.
friends, community, artists. Yeah, it just made me feel good, and I like their work. So why not just throw a party and have some open mics at it as well?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. Thanks for sharing that.
Hmm.
Sir, let's discuss two of your major milestones, Golden Boy Productions and the Queer Voices NYC Film Festival. I want to begin with Golden Boy Productions. And again, it's a queer and black owned company dedicated to elevating BIPOC and LGBTQ plus narratives through film, media, and public programming. So, Brandon, what compelled you to create Golden Boy Productions and what's its mission?
Yeah. So Golden Boy started off again with an artist collective. I started bringing artists together in New York, and I met a writer, and I told her that she had a film with this poetry. And
Mhm.
so we created, basically, I produced it and acted in it, called Bill and Robert, about two
Right.
black men. Yeah. And yeah, it was two black men falling in love in 1967.
Mhm.
And it was very successful, got on Here TV. Got into Urban World Film Festival. And then I just realized, I was like, okay, I really like this. And then I was already creating events that really, again, centered marginalized voices in media and entertainment. And between the events I was throwing and also the films I was creating, I was like, well, let me just create a production company. And we've been creating events, social justice events, social conscious events that we would throw in Brooklyn, and the films that we would create, all within the mission of using art and social justice as a way to combat issues that are affecting our community. So our mission is really just how can we blend art and social justice to create change and amplify LGBTQ and other marginalized voices in media entertainment.
Wonderful. Well, what's been the impact of Golden Boy Productions? And I'm going to throw a cliched question out to you, which is where do you see the company in, say, 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, the impact that we've had is the amount of community we've been able to build. and the amount of partnerships we've been able to cultivate with different institutions, with corporations, and universities. I feel like that's such an impact that we've seen, and also how diverse and our audience is as we're growing. And also to know that there's a space that was specifically designed for, you know, people of color and queer people of color, and knowing that, you know, you can have a space that is amplifying these voices, and also bringing in community to see these stories. And yeah, and I would say, you know, Golden Boy is the reason why queer voices exist. And, you know, Golden Boy Productions, we started Queer Voices of New York City, which was a film screening of queer filmmakers from all five boroughs.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a program that we created that was really, really successful, and which prompted, you know, opening this film festival of, you know, Queer Voices NYC, a little name change. And it really just propelled community, and also made space for more marginalized voices. So I think that that was an impact that I saw. And um, what was the other part of the question? Impact and
And where do you see Golden Boy
oh,
Productions in, say, 3 to 5 years?
yeah. So, you know, I see us developing more programming, and when it comes to events, and working with different, you know, government sectors to handle issues about, you know, anything that's issue, you know, any issues about mental health and wellness. So I see us doing events still, but I also see us producing podcasts and
Mm,
theater, and continue to produce films. You
ambitious.
know,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, we're a production company. So, you know, I see us, you know, we have things in development right now. I.e. my documentary series, Before They Tell Our Stories. I'm also developing an amazing podcast that I'm working with partners from South Africa.
Wow.
Um, yeah, breaking down borders. So it's some really cool things we have in the works with Golden Boy Productions. You know, still, you know, I see us executive producing theater. You know,
Mm.
I love theater, Broadway, off Broadway, and, you know, having more of a global impact. You know, we were actually at the Nelson Mandela Foundation in May, with Breaking Down Borders, to speak about how media and arts can be a way to drive social change. So we're growing, and I just see us, you know, hitting more continents, and bridging out. I love traveling, and I also love working while traveling, and having a reason to be there to also come in and learn and develop, and see how we all can to work together, because, you know, there shouldn't be any borders, especially when it comes to our experiences as Black people and queer people. So that's where I see, over the 3 to 5 years. So very strongly developing, strongly producing, making content that the world needs to see, and creating more impact using film media, and my events that I produce to cultivate change and social justice.
Well said. You know what? You know what? I'm asking you a question. You know what? Say what? Let me tell you something.
Yes.
All right. You are the master blaster, my brother. You've got so much great stuff that you're doing. I'm really very impressed. So, man, just congratulations on everything you're doing. Let's swing back to Bill and Robert. Tell us more about that. And let me ask you, first of all, it's heartfelt and poignant. And how has the response been to it?
Yeah, I mean, every time people see it, I mean, the writer, Kamaria J. Hodge, is just a brilliant writer. And she wrote this as a love letter to Black men. And when we screen it, funny because everyone sees themselves in this story of what tenderness and what love can look like. And that Black men, Black queer men can be able to, so you can see a Black man receive love and be vulnerable, because, love comes, but you also have to be able to receive it,
Yeah,
which no one talks about.
very true.
And this film, you see two same gender loving people together and loving each other. And it's radical because they're Black. And, it's a time capsule because it's a period piece in Harlem, depicting the Harlem Renaissance, essentially.
Hmm.
And we get to see these two folks that happen to be gay love each other and
Uh-huh.
be humanized. And a lot of my work is really about humanizing these experiences that are, usually we're tropes or stigmatized. But at the end of the day, we're human. And the response to going back to Bill and Robert, it's been very impactful and amazing because Black people and queer people, they see these films and they see themselves. Getting into Urban World Film Festival, which is a predominantly Black film festival, and in the Black community, gayness is still stigmatized.
Yeah,
And the fact of the
true.
matter that we got in, and that they saw that there was a space there, shows that
Uh-huh.
this work was impactful and necessary. And, every time I watch it, I'm also starring in it. So every time I watch it, I'm like, wow, like this was really, impactful for me, and great to see something, we made with love to still have, still see an importance there. So I think that was the most, that was still something very impactful to see.
Mm,
Yeah.
indeed. Let's play the trailer for Bill and Robert. Are we ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
It was 1967. And I had just discovered that I had an attraction to another man.
That was a hell of a trailer. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Okay, let's move on to Before They Tell Our Stories, right?
Hmm.
Which is an innovative documentary series that preserves queer history. So give us a synopsis. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so before they tell our stories, we follow queer students and faculty at Medgar Evers College, predominantly Black institution in the heart of Brooklyn. And it follows the students and faculty and their coming out stories and their journeys of how they identify within the queer community and being visible. So it's a story that is reclaiming the power and the identity of queer people and allowing the world to see what it looks like to be trans, to be non-binary and bisexual from a Black and brown lens. And it's a historical piece. We get to learn more about Medgar Evers College, and we also get to learn more about queer representation in higher education and where work still needs to be had. And we get to just see a lens from all of these amazing subjects, and cultivate more history and more change.
Mm, that's great. Okay, very good. Let's play the trailer for Before They Tell Our Stories. So let's play it right now.
LGBT oral history. Chala?
Vanessa, interview Mark.
LGBT oral history project take.
I think that people are not comfortable being out in campus. I think a lot of it has to do with culturally.
Started to feel uncomfortable in how society was starting to perceive me.
I came out to my family when I was about 19.
I did struggle with why I wasn't coming out to my family, even though I was out in all other aspects of my life.
Came out to my mother and she was a little surprised.
And then when I was 21 years old, I had my first injection of testosterone.
In October, I used National Coming Out Month as an excuse to email my family and say, Some of you know, some of you might not know, I identify as queer. I'll be wearing a suit to my sister's wedding. And if you have questions, here's a resource where you can learn more.
What I would tell parents who have queer children is to love their kids.
It's important to have queer clubs and queer programming in colleges because that's how we combat the invisibilizing of queer identities and queer people.
I think every campus should have a space, a safe space for people.
Damn good.
Yes.
Damn good.
Damn good.
Damn good. Concise and to the point, my brother. Damn good. All right.
Yo.
Question. Do you have any plans to make like a feature length film? Do you have one in the can already?
Yeah, I mean, there's this film about being Black and going to opera school, and
Okay.
it's a kind of like a romantic drama film that I'm developing as a feature. Yeah, there's a young opera singer that falls in love with his teacher, and we get to see what that looks like. His teacher not only is, obviously at his school, but he is the head of the opera program. So we're exploring the tension behind that, and do they fall in love? Do they stay together? We don't know. So
I like that. I like that. Okay.
and then, like I said, I'm also producing some other projects as well. But features, definitely looking to continue my feature about St. Louis, about the Black communities there, called St. Louis Untold. That's a feature film. And, we get to learn about the history of, racism, segregation, and, the redlining that continues to still happen.
Okay. Got it. Do you remember Man of course you do, In Living Color, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the Wayans brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the Headleys? They had each one had 50 jobs. You remind me of the Daddy Headley, with all of these jobs, wearing all of these hats. And I think that's great.
Thank you. It's crazy. As I look and I'm like, wow, this is what we're doing. But, I don't know if you're into astrology, but I'm a Virgo rising. And, Virgos usually have about 11 jobs or do 11 things. And yeah, I think it's in my chart that I'm supposed to have different careers and, going in and out of different projects. And so it keeps me grounded.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Let me ask you this question, my friend. Are you seeing more Black and people of color LGBTQ plus representation in film and TV? And also, recently there have been such deep job cuts across media, across the media landscape, particularly in the context of film and TV production. So first, again, are you seeing more Black, people of color, LGBTQ plus representation in entertainment? And do you think these cuts, and they're pretty deep, will impact the presentation of these important and necessary stories?
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing sprinkles of us.
Okay.
If you look into Tyler Perry's, latest series, All Black or something like that, that's on Netflix, we
Right.
see Black queer representation there. And I think he's moving that forward. But we also had Pose and, Noah's Ark came out with their latest
Right.
film. So there's sprinkles. And, unfortunately, there's not that many sprinkles that we're getting. And I see a lot of retraction from these stories, especially Black queer stories. Also, P Valley also has, some
Yeah.
queer representation in there, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
And, far as the networks picking it up, I don't really see that. But I do see a lot of indie projects coming out, and a lot of the filmmakers that we work with at Queer Voices are producing their own work, writing their own work, and directing it, and then finding distribution outside of the typical studio, equation and trail line. So, I mean, we see it on an independent route, definitely, and yeah, there's still so much work that needs to be had. And I guess with this media landscape, we don't really know. I think people are really trying to figure out where next and where to go. But I am motivated to just continue to make the projects, find distribution, continue to collaborate, because the work still has to be done. Just like make sure it's good and great quality, and the story is a good story. Because at the end of the day, if it's a good story, people are going to be drawn to it. And I know that with our mission here at Queer Voices, it's really about how can we, again, amplify these stories that are from marginalized communities, specifically the Black and Brown community. And I think that's, if we don't have it, we're going to create it. And that's really the model right now.
Exactly. So, Brandon, what do you have cooking for 2026?
Yes. So in 2026, I'm going to be releasing Before They Tell Our Stories, the first season. So you look out for that in January. Yes, we're almost out of post-production. And so we'll be having screenings come 2026, be releasing the first season of that and teasing some episodes, some short mini clips of that for 2026. I have some cabarets coming up that I'll be singing at, and I'm trying to figure out what else we'll be doing. I'm going to be traveling, and continue to be producing, figuring out the next couple projects that I'll be producing. Like I said, our podcast, Breaking Down Borders, we're developing right now, and so you'll see a little bit more of that. You'll see just more work from Golden Boy. And the next season of Queer Voices NYC Film Festival. So there's a lot of exciting things happening on those ends. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, Mr. Golden Boy, give us all of your social media. How can we connect with you and all of that great stuff?
Yeah, so you can follow Golden Boy at Golden Boy BOI Productions _ on all social media platforms. You can also visit us on our website at www.goldenboyproductions.com. Again, boy with an I. You can also follow me personally at brandonsmith.arts and my YouTube channel and my Instagram. And if you want to know more about Queer Voices, you can go to queervoicesnyc.com and also follow us on social media at Queer Voices NYC. And again, at Queer Voices NYC. Yep.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Mr. Brandon C. Smith, thank you so much for stopping by. Wyatt, it's greatly appreciated. And you have an open invitation to come back anytime.
Oh, thank you so much. This was so fun. And I got to, be on Wyatt. So I hope I'm looking forward to this episode and again, hopefully join you for another conversation.
Definitely, because I roll like that. Yes,
Love
I
it.
do.
I see. Okay. Yeah. I feel like we have a lot more to talk about for sure. And yeah, so thank you for your work, though. I really appreciate you amplifying these communities and giving us a space to tell our stories and be in community. Oh, also, if you want to see Before They Tell Our Stories, you can follow that at BTTOS Film and on Instagram to know more about the documentary series.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So, y'all, there you have it. You can find the official Wyatt podcast page at WyattEvans.com, the go-to destination for LGBTQ plus news, features, commentary, and entertainment. WyattEvans.com is visited by more than 100 countries on the regular. All I can say to that is, hey, baby. And at WyattEvans.com, you'll find my smoking hot, HAWT hot, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. And as you just saw on the top, the newest installment is called Shattered. I said Shattered. And y'all, Shattered is full of action, danger, intrigue, sexually charged situations, passion, and all of the wonderful elements that you're used to in the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. So get your new copy of Shattered. Now you can follow me, your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans, all across social media, and poof, is right there for you to peruse, like TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And if you have any comments or whatever, you can hit me up at wyattonair@gmail.com. So until next time, y'all, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof. I said woof.